America, we're back on the Fowler Show, and just when you thought she couldn't get any worse, she's managed to do so. It's time for my favorite segment, the Washington Whisperer, and tonight we're talking about Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos is planning to make it even harder for ripped-off students who get loan forgiveness. The Borrower Defense Program grants student loan forgiveness to students whose schools engage in misleading or deceptive practices or violated state laws. If the revisions from the Department of Education go through, students will face even bigger hurdles. Here are 4 of the ways Betsy DeVos will make it even harder for students who have been ripped off. And when I mean ripped off, I mean they've been thoroughly ripped off. But here's what she will do to make it harder, and I'll tell you the students that I'm talking about. The first thing she will do is she will force students to provide clear and convincing evidence. The current standard, borrowers must meet a preponderance of the evidence, which is the 51% threshold. With the proposed changes, they will need to meet a stricter, clear, and convincing evidence standard to make it more difficult for borrowers to qualify for student loan forgiveness. The second thing she will do, if her laws go into effect, or her rules, is she'll have to prove the school knowingly misled you. Borrowers won't get the student loan forgiveness unless they can show the school's misrepresentation was intentional or demonstrated a reckless disregard for the truth. How students could prove the school deliberately deceived them, however, remains unclear. The third thing she will do is she will have to show how you suffered monetary damage. DeVos's proposal would require borrowers to demonstrate that the school misrepresentation led to them losing monetary damage. So you have to show everything from like your child care bills, your gas mileage that you lost, all of these things. And the fourth thing is you will have less time to file your claim, meaning she will shorten the window. She will create a statute of limitation that's even shorter than the current statute. The proposal would shorten the window for defrauded students to file their defense claim. In the past, students typically had 6 years to submit an application. Now that will go down to just 3 years from the time they discovered or reasonably should have discovered evidence of fraud. Now here's what DeVos says. She has criticized the borrower's defense as basically giving away free money. But she seems to be speaking out of both sides of her mouth, because that's what she said, as it's giving away free money. But here's what she said when on Capitol Hill and being grilled about student loans by Senator Dick Durbin.
Student debt and student loans are of grave concern. I talked about that during my confirmation hearing, and I feel no differently now. In fact, I probably feel more strongly about the critical nature of the increasing student debt.
So your budget increases the interest burden of students. Your budget freezes the Pell Grants so they have to borrow more. Your budget doesn't give them public loan forgiveness.
From free money to that seems to me to sound like a walking hypocrisy, because Betsy DeVos is the epitome of a walking hypocrisy. And the reason being is because if you take a look, you've got to follow the money on this one. Betsy DeVos and her family has so much money tied up in for-profit colleges that it's unbelievable. And that is why she's making these rules so much harder for students, because she knows that she will benefit and all of her friends will benefit richly if these for-profit colleges can take and steal and pillage more money from American taxpayers. Now here's what you need to know at home. Many of for-profit colleges get 80 to 90% of their money from you and from me. Yes, from American taxpayers. Since the Department of Education has started this Defense for Borrowers program, and they've really started to look into this, and this has started since the collapse of ITT Tech and Corinthian, it's received 99,000 claims, and 98.6% of those claims have come from for-profit colleges and universities. But, many for-profit colleges and universities don't have any claims. So there's some for-profit colleges and universities who seem to be doing everything right, and then there are others, like Corinthians, which no longer exist, and ITT Tech, that are literally misleading students and taking advantage of everything from the GI Bill to Pell Grants to Perkins and Stafford loans. So basically what you have here is a situation where Betsy DeVos is saying that they're giving away free money. But if you think about this equation correctly, America, the people that are getting free money seems to be the for-profit colleges. Because the students have to pay that money back whether they're defrauded or not, especially under her new rules. So these for-profit, so just think about this for a minute. Play this all out. So you are a returning vet. You just come back from the war in Iraq, you get a call from one of these crappy for-profit colleges. Hey, come to our college. You know, in 6 months, you'll be a veterinarian. This is what they tell you. Don't take my word for it. You can listen to students who've been through this. And just take out all these loans, it's fine. You'll get employed right when you walk out of college. And you go, they tell you go to this online college, but there's no accountability, there's no transparency. They take the check from the government, you get lapped with these student loans, and yet you are not able to enroll in the classes, the textbooks don't work, you're not getting the education that you need, and some people graduate with the for-profit degree and they're not able to achieve gainful employment because nobody wants a degree from a for-profit college. Right? So what Betsy DeVos has created, or what she's trying to create, is a system where corporations, which are for-profit colleges, where they win and the little guy, the student, loses. And her sort of scheme of doing it is saying, oh, I want to make it hard, I want to make it so that we're not giving away free money. But Betsy, you're already giving away free money. 80 to 90% of the revenue that most of these for-profit colleges are getting comes from American taxpayers. So the free money has already been written. You're already giving it away. And sadly, you're lapping the money on the Americans who are trying to achieve the American dream instead of holding these corporations accountable for their bad actions. But this is part of the course from a woman who believes that the only way to fix public education is to just utterly get rid of it. Right? This woman is the most unqualified person to be the Secretary of Education. She's never attended a public school. Her kids have never went to a public school. She knows nothing about public schools besides she thinks they're all bad. Right? And she really doesn't know anything about a public university. And she just believes that the only way to solve all of our problems is investing in really crappy for-profit universities and colleges, which we know, overall, don't seem to work, America. Because the proof is in the pudding. They sell you with these really crappy ads on TV, like ITT Tech. Remember those ITT Tech ads? They used to come on during the Maury Povich show. Remember those? Hey, you, sitting on the couch. Get on the couch and call this 1-800 number. And they would tell you how you call and you're going to become a graphic designer tomorrow. And everything's going to be great. All you got to do is sign these papers and you're going to get these loans. And 5 years later, you're not a graphic designer, you don't have a job, and you are buried to hell with student loans. And that is why that college went under. And what Betsy is saying here is that you are still stuck with the debt, even though you didn't get a return on the services that you said that they told you were supposed to get. But she wants to make the standards higher, because if she makes the standards higher, then these companies can walk away with more of our tax dollars without accountability, without transparency, and without openness. If you've applied for the bar defense program or plan to do so in the future, stay up to date with the requirements. It could improve your chances. This is a PSA for everybody watching. It could improve your chances of getting it could improve your chances of actually getting an approval. But America, remember how these regulations happen, which is why I love this segment so much, because this is the Washington Whisper segment. How these rules get changed is there's literally a meeting that happens in Washington where they bring in the public, and they sit there and they say these rules are good or bad. But you know who's usually at these meetings? You guessed it, lobbyists for these for-profit colleges and universities, right? Because a majority of students, we don't have a lobby. So I take that back. So there are really good people doing really good work. So you have USSA, the United States Student Association, who are fighting tooth and nail to stop programs like this. You have other student groups who are really trying hard. You have the American Federation of Teachers who are really trying hard to fight back against this. But there's 2 or 3 of them versus millions and millions of dollars of lobbying efforts and a Department of Education led by Betsy DeVos who has money invested in these not-for-profit colleges fighting against these 4 or 5 people. And they're the ones who make these decisions with the help of the public. And that's what's going to determine how people can, how the whole country, they will determine how the whole country will be able to utilize the borrower defense program. It's a crying shame, America. It is a crying shame. Watch and pray, people. Follow the story. Follow Betsy DeVos and watch what she does. I mean, there's no other way to call it but evil. There's no other way to call it.